Buy or sell?
Buy.
We're
Sell,
sticking with
sell.
MLB edition.
Yep. Love it.
Shohei or Ronald Acuna will win the National League MVP. They are both the odds-on favorites.
Ronlid. Is that a Caseyism?
A what? Oh, it is say Ronlid. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Is that you?
That was me.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Casey. That's on me. But to be fair to
I love
Casey,
how- I love how
Casey
we
did make an
deemed
apology
it a
yesterday that he
Casey.
was going to try to get better on his spelling. I don't know how you do that totally. I mean, I guess
but there you go.
I guess you could just
vow-
like try to
I
do
vow.
spell check all the time. But
Yeah.
usually for most people, when you spell something, it's like that is what it is. You either got it right or you got it wrong.
Ronald or
Shohei
Shohei?
or Ronald?
MVP. National League MVP. Buy or sell?
Are you giving me the field? I'll take the field. I'm going to sell.
You're going to sell?
Don't ask me who. I don't know who, but you're giving me so many players that could possibly be the MVP outside of those two guys that I'll take it.
I want to sell really bad, but I just think Shohei Ohtani is going to hit for like 50 home runs again, and it's just going to be really sad. Huh? It doesn't matter if he what he is as an offensive player is still.
I get that, but isn't it more like
Coming off an
what was
injury.
what was described to me is he's more like a top 10 hitter. He's not like
Yeah, he's not the best hitter in Major League Baseball, but I'd say he's one of them. He can certainly win the MVP as just a bat alone, and I think he's going to. I think there's a serious chance he wins MVP, the odds-on favorite. So shout out to him. I'm going to buy.
okay. Bye. I would sell that.
You're going to sell it.
Yep.
The Pirates, they finish in the cellar of the division. Reed and I have had this debate now for weeks and months. I think that at some point you are who you are. And the Pirates over the past 30 years, they certainly are. They've had 4 winning seasons since 1993, I think. Since 1993.
I'm selling this. I think the
You're
Pirates.
selling it?
I think the Pirates are going to finish a little better than the basement. If you had to make me pick who's going to finish in the basement, I would say the Brewers.
Okay, well, I have a Brewers one coming up, but that's
All right.
interesting. Again, this is no knock on the Pirates. I think they're young, and I think they have talent similar to last year's Reds. I just think it's at a point right now where there's 4 teams that I think are better than them. What the hell? Okay. We have – this is preposterous. We have Brewers. Brewers are underrated. I think there's a lot of people like myself who watched last season. They saw their lack of offense, and they had a great pitching staff. You lose Burns, you lose Woodruff. I don't know what they are as a whole unit this season. I'm going to say that they are, in fact, underrated, so I'm going to buy it. I think there's a chance that they're going to be better than I think, and I think that's what I'm most worried about. If there's a team that, like, if you're a Reds fan and you're still thinking about, like, who are you the most scared to play on a given night, it's always going to be the Brewers. I really believe that.
I'm selling.
You're selling.
Yep.
So you think that they're properly rated, they're going to be...
Corbin Burns isn't coming to save the day anymore. I know that they still have some of the other guys, but I just...
All right.
It just feels like the time's up. The time's up for the Brewers. We shall find out.
That's fair. We have Hunter Greene starts 25 games this year. Buy or sell? He started 22. He started 24. Will he get to 25 games started this season? And I think this is a big key for me. If Hunter Greene's able to start 25 games, if he's able to go out there consistently, I know you don't have to stay healthy for all 162. I get it. But if you can give me consistent starts night in, night out, where I know I can rely on you and you're not missing 2 months at a time, I think this guy will be a stud. He'll be a bona fide ace in this league. He'll prove it. Just give him the time, make him healthy. But in terms of will it happen, I'm concerned, and as of right now, I have to sell it because of what I've seen on the field and that he's been unable to do it thus far. Selling that Hunter Greene starts 25.
So you get 34 if you do every single game without injury?
Roughly, yeah.
25. I mean, that seems actually kind of high, to be honest. But he missed like a month, right?
It was about a month.
About
a month. I'm selling.
I'll buy.
Casey's buying.
I'll buy. I don't think he's going to be out for a month.
Well, that's what it comes down to.
Maybe like a week or two here and there. But I don't know if it'll be a month. It's hard to predict injury.
Coach?
Oh, man. I'm going to buy.
You're buying.
I'm gonna buy. There's this notion in my brain that wants to try to fall into the trap that is Cincinnati fandom and always feel as if you're gonna get the bad side of the aisle. You're gonna get the rotten apple or whatever term you like to come up with here to make yourself feel like you're gonna get the short end of the stick. For all the folks that love the fact that I use cliches, I hope I just got as many of those out of the way as I could. But
That was really good.
I really feel as if there's a chance that this could be the turning point for this franchise over the next few years, and this is the year that it could be that case. We've all been a subject to misery for quite some time for this franchise, and it feels like at some point good fortune turns. Let's not forget the Kansas City Chiefs for a long time were a terrible organization in regards to winning football games. A fandom that I loved for ever since I was a child in Georgia football was mocked and made fun of for quite some time of always falling short. Georgia was an actual thing for the longest time. And until they finally did it, then obviously everybody acts as if they've been a great program all along, but they weren't. They were in the shadows of many programs. Florida during the Urban Meyer days, and then they were in the shadows of Alabama ever since Saban took over. But at some point, that fortune turned. And it feels like you continue to put yourself at that opportunity, you're going to break through. And certainly I'm opening up myself for heartbreak by saying this, but the closer and closer we get to opening day, the more and more I believe that this is the chance, and this is the start of the turn. And I'm not suggesting for a second that it means they're going to win 95 games and go and win a playoff series and all these things, but I think this is the start of the Reds turning a corner. And I also believe that this group is young enough to be naive enough to believe that they can do it. We all have been a part of workplaces at some point in our lives that you walk into a situation and you have a culture that exists, right? In some cultures that exist, it's this abundance of optimism that doesn't really exist a whole lot in corporate America. And why is that? It doesn't exist in corporate America a lot of times because when you walk in the door, there's a lot of old timers. There's a lot of people that have put their time in. They've waited their turn. And in turn, what they've done is they've lost optimism. They've seen the dark side, if you will, of the business. They've seen the realization that really in order to be able to get to somewhere where you thought you were going, you got to do things that maybe kind of are gray area things that you would consider morally right when you're trying to do something specific within your job. Most times at corporate America, they say one thing and they do another. And I try to convince myself now that this Reds team is young enough to where they don't have the battle scars of some of the veterans of the past, right? Let's face it, if you've been beaten down in Major League Baseball and you played for a bad franchise and you've lost a lot, it wears on you. Do I think Anthony Rendon would have said the things that he said of recent times if he didn't deal with injury and didn't play on an absolutely terrible team? I don't think so. I think that's just a product of the situation he's been put in. And I think for a long time, that's somewhat where this Reds franchise has been. They've had veteran players that we've hung on to, and we've hung on to, and we've hung on to, and at some point, there's been a little bit of neglect of optimism within inside the clubhouse and a true belief within inside the franchise that things could change or they could become the team to beat. We've had glimpses of it, yes. But this is the first time I believe we have a lot of young players that truly believe that they could be the best in baseball. Now, whether that's just naiveness or whether that's the facts, it doesn't really matter. Because I believe that you can will yourself and you can self-talk yourself into being something that maybe you weren't when you first started. And I think that the Reds are going to find themselves in a position where they have enough young players to where they turn the corner. And a part of that is Hunter Greene. A big part of that is Hunter Greene. And it's a long-winded way of me saying, if Hunter Greene does start more than 25 games, and I think he will, again, we will be thrilled to death with what this season is.
100%.
And if it doesn't, if it turns out that guys continue to get hurt and all of these things, it's going to be a psychological battle that we're going to have to try to hurdle and get over as a fan base. Because if you ask any Cincinnati fan, the first thing they always want to do is complain. They always want to tell you, oh, you know, we're cursed. We have this happen to us. We had that happen to us. But this team could change the narrative pretty quickly, and I hope they do. Sorry for the rant.
So that was a bye.
Bye. You want to say that? Bye.
That was a bye. Okay. And finally, to round out our little division here, Cardinals tanked twice in a row. The last time they had back-to-back losing seasons was 94 and 95. Is there a chance that we're all sitting here thinking the Cardinals are going to win this division because they've got Arenado, they've got Goldschmidt, and they've got Sonny Gray, and they've got a damn good pitching staff? Are we going to write off the St. Louis Cardinals again? I don't think you can do it. I'm going to sell. I am selling the Cardinals lose again, have a losing season again, back to back.
Boy, it's a tough one. I'm going to sell as well, but I also think that it would be beautiful if that were to happen, because it almost feels like this is the situation now where they have some young players, yes, but they also are relying on a lot of veterans that you could argue are very prone to either going downhill from a career standpoint of not being good players anymore or getting injured. Arenado is a guy that I would like to venture to think that, you know, maybe he bounces back, but maybe he doesn't. Goldschmidt's a guy that well, it's hard to replicate an MVP season, so he really only had one place to go last year, and that was down. But does he continue to stay consistent at his age? Sonny Gray going to be a guy is he going to be a guy that you can rely upon for a full season at the age in which he's pitching at? So they have, and you know, I think there's a Lance Lynn. They have a plethora of guys that are like that. So, or those guys could kind of bounce back, Ryan Ludwig-esque, and have one more good season on the back end of their career.
One more run in the sun.
That's right.